In today's video, we are ripping off the card cover on this 1966 Corvair, and we're going to start the restoration process. A couple months ago, I dragged this 1966 Corvair out of a field, and now I'm excited to be getting started on it. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be breaking it down and disassembling as much of it we can, and we're going to start cleaning up everything. So in this video, we're going to get the Corvair torn apart even more, just break it all down. The bumpers removed, the headlights removed, door handles, all that stuff. And then we're going to start degreasing and getting all the parts cleaned up and ready for restoration. So I'll give you a quick little walk around the car. So the car, if you look down the line of it, it is pretty straight. Like there's no, the fenders line up really well with the doors, and the quarter panels look really straight as far as that goes. But there is rust. So we'll be doing a lot of rust repair along the window here, on the rear quarter panels. There's rust at the backs here, a little bit of rust on the C-pillar around there, a little bit of rust you can see here. So we'll be doing some rust repairs, rust at the bottom of the fenders here. But you can see how the car is covered in a layer of dirt and debris and all that stuff. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to get this all cleaned up and we're going to start working on it. So I wanted to let you know that this video is sponsored by Gunk. We're going to be using their parts cleaners and degreasers to clean 59 years worth of grease and grime buildup on this vehicle here. So come with me and we're going to get started right now. So these engine covers that were laying in the trunk, I got them all laid out here. I'm going to spray them down with degreaser and let it soak in for a little bit and let the degreaser do its magic and break it all down. So we'll definitely be bagging and tagging everything that we find and take apart. These I just found laying in the trunk here, so I'm just gonna bag them up here and try to decipher what they go to, as the restoration process goes on. But that looks like flywheel bolts or something like that, maybe. And like I said, we're taking everything off, the weather stripping, everything we can take off this vehicle. We're going to strip it down to a bare shell to start the bodywork process. And stuff like the mechanical hood latch, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put it in the complete parts cleaner kit here. This is like a little basket that you can put your parts in and submerge it in there and let it soak, for a couple hours, and then that'll break all that down. So all the mechanical stuff like that, I'm going to use the Gunk parts cleaner kit here. So I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this. So we got a hood latch here. It's got 50 years worth of lube on it and grease and grime. So we're going to go ahead and put that in the parts cleaner here. Go ahead and submerge that in there, and we'll just let that soak for a few hours, and then we'll pull that out, and that should be nice and clean. All right, after letting the Gunk degreaser soak for a while, now we're just gonna give it a little pressure wash and let the grease run away. So the reason why I like to use the degreasers on the parts and not just the pressure washer is it makes it a lot easier, even using a pressure washer. You spray the degreaser on there and it just melts off the grease and grime. So I was at this for quite a few hours. I would pull a part off, degrease it, let it soak and do its thing while pulling other parts off, and then I would come back and pressure wash it. So I think this is a pretty exciting day one here, working on the car, getting everything disassembled and degreased. All right, now I got the whole trunk sprayed with degreaser and letting it soak. And after letting it soak for a while, we're gonna pressure wash the whole thing, and we'll see what we got as far as rust and all that stuff and see how solid the inside of the trunk is or isn't. As you can see, this is not the most funnest part of the restoration. I'm covered in dirt from head to toe. I mean, just with this little bit of cleaning, it's making this project a lot more exciting, and to see it clean up is pretty cool. Decided to go ahead and just wash the whole car and just get it as clean as I possibly can. And then in the morning, I will come back and then I'm gonna start stripping everything, taking the lights out, the trim off, the molding is off, start breaking the car down. So this is day one. Right, it's the next day and we're back at it. I wanted to give you a quick walk around of everything all cleaned up and show you the before and after. The engine bay and all the mud and debris that was in the engine bay is all gone now, degreased. And now this is all ready to start stripping it and, you know, start making things better. All the mud and stuff that was in there is gone. Here is the trunk space here, all cleaned out, dried up, vacuumed out, all that stuff. Those greasy, nasty engine cover parts that were in there. So this is an example of why we do this. So somebody painted over, you know, greasy parts before, and then the paint just flakes off. So this paint, you know, just flakes right off. So if that had been properly prepped, that paint wouldn't have come off even with the pressure washer. So now that these parts are all dry, now I'm going to store them away until it's time to either restore them or figure out if we're replacing them. I like to keep everything, even if we're not going to reuse them. So even though that we may not be reusing this part, I'm going to keep it around until the restoration is done. Now it's time to break the vehicle down. So we're going to start removing everything: tail lights, bumpers, brackets, window trim, all that stuff. The goal is to strip the car down to bare metal, and once we got it stripped down to bare metal, so in this video we're going to get all the parts off of it, and then in future videos we're going to strip the car down to bare metal, and then we're going to primer the vehicle and treat all the rust. So this process is an exciting time and also a little discouraging time, because this is when you find out how bad or how good the car really is. So now we got the tail end stripped, bumper removed, tail lights removed, trim all removed. Now we're going to work on the rear window trim and get that off. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to go with the process with this build. So like, I could possibly take this window trim off and reuse it, or I could maybe get flush mount glass and make it look more modern and get rid of the trim. So I'm doing my best to take the trim off and not damage anything, and that way I can either reuse it or sell the trim to somebody that could use it. So I was pretty proud of how successful I was in getting the trim off without... I got the rear window trim off, and I managed to get it off without bending it, and you can see the rust in the back panel here, and then a little bit up here on the C-pillar. Almost forgot about the hood latch here. I put it in there yesterday. Let's pull it out and see. I'm sure just a little bit of water spraying, and that's going to come nice and clean. See, it had a ton of paint on it. The paint just ran off. Yep, bunch of paint. Came out pretty amazing. A little bit more cleaning, and she's gonna be perfect. That looks like a bunch of spray paint there. I'll tell you what, breaking this car down is harder than you think. This car is 59 years old, and probably 25 years or more it sat in the field. Now, as you can see, I just took the front bumper off. Now I'm working on the side rocker moldings. All the fender trim, all that's going to be removed. Wiper arms and badges, all that's got to be removed from the vehicle. Now, the trip rail moldings were a little bit of a challenge to get off, especially without damaging them. So I looked up online and I ran across a video that showed you how to use a couple paint sticks and a hammer and a certain technique. As you can see right here, I'm hitting it from underneath and rolling the molding out towards the top. And I learned this technique from a YouTube channel called In the Home Garage. Jeremy showed this technique, and it works amazing. This is definitely a technique situation. You don't want to use brute force, and brute force will just damage the molding. But light little taps like this with the paint sticks, 2 paint sticks taped together, about 4 inches long, and just work my way down the molding. It worked perfectly. To remove these moldings without bending it and taking my time, it took me about 45 minutes per side to do this. Managed to get the trim off without destroying it, which is pretty awesome. Just This one little corner piece did get a little deformed, but nothing I don't think we can't hammer back into shape. And the paint sticks with tape is what did the trick. Hammering it from the back side off, as you saw, worked pretty cool. So this is pretty cool. I was working on removing the headlights from the Corvair, and then behind, once you get the headlights out, then there's this mounting plate here. It's probably backwards here. Anyways, it comes out, and then behind it was the horn. It was mounted in there, so you... Oh, great. They just break those ends. Nope. So anyways, the screw for the horn mount is right here on the inside of the trunk. Pretty cool. So over there is going to be another horn behind that headlight. So now we're going to disassemble that side. We got the front end all torn out. Just got to take the license plate bracket off on the bottom there. And the front end of the vehicle is stripped. Still haven't figured out how to get that off. The Corsa emblem. There's no access to the fender well. No access behind through the inside of the trunk. This plate's welded in, so you can't get this off. No access from the inside of the gas door. From underneath, there's no access, as you can see. You can probably access it through the rust hole, and no access through the door jamb. So interesting. That's the exciting thing about this project, is figuring things out as you go. I've been around Corvairs, but I've never torn them down like this. All right, I'm gonna attempt to get the front glass out without breaking it. I'm not gonna reuse this glass because it's delaminating, but I do want to keep it as a template for doing the window trim and stuff, you know, around the window. So I'm gonna try to keep it in one piece if I can. And the way I'm gonna go about getting this glass out is I'm gonna use a piece of wire, and I'm gonna feed it through. I've already poked a hole here. Feed it through here like this, and I'm going to use it like this and kind of just cut the film out, cut the weather adhesive glue like this. It seems to be working. I think the glass at the bottom, since it's so rusty and crusty, is probably not really attached at the bottom, and that's part of the reason why the window leaked, and that's why the dash is the way it is. I don't know if this is the exact way you're supposed to do it, but that's just the way I'm doing it. Oh, now we got the molding on the inside to contend with. There it goes. All right, cool. All right, I'm happy about that. It's coming out as one piece. Woohoo, success. All right, as you can see, I got the windshield out, and how bad the dash/window channel there is. It's pretty rough. It's gonna have my work cut out for me fixing that. And to top it off, you know, I'm a beginner at this, so I just really gotta take my time and figure out how to do this. I'm sure there's lots of videos out there to guide me through this and help me through. Now I'm gonna do the same thing here on the back glass and see if we can get the back glass out. The back glass I will reuse. It's not delaminating. It's in really good shape. So I really don't want to break the back glass. But we're going to do the same technique as we did to the front. Just work our way around and get it out. All right, as you can see, we made some serious progress on the Corvair here. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Gunk, for sponsoring the video. Without these parts cleaners and degreasers, we couldn't get this car cleaned up and ready for paint. So I'd like to thank him for that. Links for the Gunk's products that I used in this video will be down in the description. I'm Brian from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for hanging out with me. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can be a part of the build. We're going to be picking colors and engine powertrains, all that stuff. And I'm going to need your input on that. So thank you again for watching, and be sure to subscribe.